You're listening to Cattywampus.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Corey.
I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
And we watched a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we all have turtle power now. This was
Is that contagious?
Turtle power.
Unfortunately, there's no known vaccine for turtle power.
I think it's more contagious when you're a kid.
I know I was definitely a fan of the cartoon series, and I definitely had the toys.
Never saw the movies, and I would sometimes randomly watch the cartoon series, but never in any kind of order, so...
You live a charmed life where many of the pop culture things that we were familiar with, you were blissfully unaware of.
They just elude
passed
you.
on by.
I was extremely into the Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, mainly the cartoon. I definitely saw some of the movies, but the cartoon was my favorite. I had all kinds of different action figures, little play places with plastic pizzas. I had the van, and it shot pizzas out, and it had
Not manhole covers.
Not manhole covers.
Continuity
And
here.
there was some kind of play set where it had green ooze that came out of it. It wasn't like Play-Doh, it was more like silly putty.
Okay.
Not silly putty.
Was it like recreating their origin?
No, I think it was actually you were supposed to kill Shredder by putting turtle ooze on him.
Like rolling him in toxic waste?
I guess. I don't know.
You're supposed to take him out.
These sound like horrifying toys for
the
children.
slow, painful way.
It sounds like a real mess. I'm sorry for all the parents everywhere that had to deal with these toys.
Yeah, and
the
having
90s.
children conditioned to murder.
Pick a fad from the age when we were growing up. I probably fell into it at some point, so Ninja Turtles was no exception. I was absolutely obsessed. When I was a kid, Raphael was my favorite. When I moved into my new house when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my parents let me paint one of the walls red because he was my favorite. Because in the cartoon series, he wasn't an asshole like he was in the movies.
So he wasn't.
He
an
was just
edgelord?
he was just yeah.
It's true.
He was just a smart ass, and I think that's what I enjoyed.
We selected what we considered would be the finest qualities of Ninja Turtles based on our memories. And started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie from 1990.
Aged like fine milk, it did.
Honestly, it reminded me a lot of other films that came just out of the 80s. I was reminded a little bit of that Super Mario Brothers movie that came out, I think, around the same time. And I just didn't like it that much. It wasn't that fun. Everything else was great, but this one was just kind of slow and boring. Also, there's murder in it, but that's another topic.
There's a lot of murder of presumably children.
It was not as entertaining as I remember. I was extremely excited to watch it because I haven't seen it in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
I might have gotten it confused with the second movie.
You weren't enthralled by Raphael unconscious in a bathtub in the middle of the woods?
Did not love his costume being flipped upside down in a bathtub.
This is friends Shiva.
Honestly, as a kid, the more I watched the film, the more I... You know how when you sometimes experience something and you end up with like a repressed memory coming back?
Like abuse?
Yes.
Well...
Like those children smoking cigarettes?
Yes. I actually slowly, as we were watching the film, I was like, oh yeah, this movie kind of scared the shit out of me as a child.
Well, yeah, because grim-looking, fetishistically dressed adults basically keep children in a Thunderdome and brutalize them day in and day out as they smoke cigars and cigarettes and steal wallets through 17 different hands and
Splinter's tied up like he's in Hell World.
oh yeah, Splinter, their weird,
Chained
their
to a
weird
fence.
slave.
That they just beat when they need answers.
You know, the very first scene of that movie had a total of 6 handoffs for that one stolen wallet.
Well, it's
But
interesting.
it ended with a ninja hand, so the payoff was great.
It was worth it. It's like a metaphor for the movie itself. It's very low rent. Like this is not high stakes like superhero stuff. Shredder's whole goal apparently appears to be the reselling of stolen and third-party goods, plus petty theft on the streets of like wallets. Like it's a real pre-Giuliani New York where it's like the mob is sort of gone. That's not really the issue anymore, and now it's just kind of Frank Miller street toughs. With no real goal, and Shredder has no plan. Like, this was his plan.
It's like a modern-day Dickens. It's like he starts his
Yes.
own band of
He's
cockney
fake.
pickpockets.
This is his plan.
Well,
He
you don't
has
know.
exactly what he wants.
That was my other problem is you don't know anything about Shredder, or the Turtles don't even know Shredder exists until the last 5 minutes.
See, I would counter the audience knows everything they need to know about Shredder
Yeah.
because literally he has no grander aspirations. His plan is to abduct children, turn them into ninjas, and have them steal stuff
Bazooka
that presumably they ship to other places and sell. He is living the dream. He got everything he wanted.
Sony
and the
TVs and Archie comics.
And
that's what was in that warehouse.
And the turtles
turtles.
stumble upon it and don't really thwart his plan as much as they beat up a bunch of the children that Shredder has sent up after him, and then they murder Shredder. Well, Splinter technically murders Shredder. They throw him off of a roof, and then Casey Jones flips a switch on a trash compactor, and Shredder is unceremoniously murdered.
And then cops show up and do literally nothing, and then everyone walks away.
But it's fantastic because that kid was Sam Rockwell.
That is so weird.
That blew my mind.
Well, I think the movie's fascinating because it's not a lazy movie. Because I think at first I thought, oh, it's going to be like nobody gave a shit. But like, there's a strange amount of directorial variety in the movie where like there's the diegetic lights that go away for Shredder to tell his stories and it becomes this weird black void. And like, that's like in-camera effects. There's these weird quick cut sequences. There's sped up stuff. There's strangely dramatic sequences and then strangely comedic sequences. Like the movie's all over the place, but like, in almost like a Tommy Wiseau, like where it's this like tone deaf thing where it's really trying everything it can, you know, to be a movie. I guess the only character with an arc is Raphael, right? Of the Turtles, like there's
It really
Kind of,
is.
yeah.
Raphael is the kind of the main character. He
You
has
could say that maybe April does it when she's giving her little diary reading at the cabin or the house in the middle of the woods. That entire
her little house on the
scene,
prairie
yeah,
narration.
where they leave for 6 months to think about beating the bad guys that they don't know about
Was
yet.
it a day? Was it 2 days? Was it 6 months? It's
Well,
not really
it
clear.
seemed like a long summer, but then they come back and he goes, "Hey, this pizza was there the other day," and I'm like, "What do you mean the other day? Like it's September? And you're talking about April? Like, or what are you talking about? Like last week?"
It was long enough to develop mold.
One of the things I kind of didn't remember about the movie, it didn't really even occur to me, is that there actually is like a weird protagonist, and that is like Raphael, because April like has a lot of screen time, but she doesn't really grow or change. Like new information is presented to her, like, oh, there are turtles. I was right. There are ninjas, and also, surprise, there are turtles. They stop the street gangs and the street toughs and the multi UN
The
coalition,
multinational.
so that it doesn't come off as racist because there's one of every race in the street gang. And so presumably it's got to be like after midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. They come back, and Raphael goes, "I'm going out to see a movie." He puts on a trench coat and a fedora like Ben Grimm and goes to, I believe, Central Park and just starts assaulting young men. And comes back and Splinter's like a dad in the corner with the lights off, and he turns the light on and he's like, "Where have you been, Raphael?" And they have this conversation, and it's all about how he's like a loner and can't control his anger and can't really think things through and has all these problems. And then, you know, he's brutally injured in the movie. They have to run away from the city. And they, after he heals, they all like meditate and come back, and it's all about them learning to work as a team in Act 3. And it occurred to me like, oh my god, like Raphael, like actually, like he's the only one with an arc.
It seems like
The
out of
second
all three
movie
of them,
we watched had basically the exact same arc.
But like, in Secret of the Ooze, for anyone who's seen it, is there? I don't believe there's an arc.
it's
Is
been-
Vanilla
it's
Ice
been
an arc?
So long.
Vanilla Ice had the arc.
Yes.
It's true. He started believing there were no turtles.
And then he ended singing with the turtles.
Yeah, he made up a song on the spot once learning there were turtles. And through the power of song, they defeated the Super Shredder.
Did we watch this today?
No, it is a fever dream I'm describing. Don't worry, it's not real.
Okay. Okay, good.
It's the sequel to the film we just watched, which we were debating between the original and the sequel, and I think we made the right call because I think the second one is just so much like it's just very nonsensical. I mean, literally, I just described the Vanilla Ice cameo, so that's about the gauge. That's your gauge of where the movie's at.
Was there any other villain other than Super Shredder?
There was Toka and Razor,
Which were Discount, Bebop, and Rocksteady.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Well, I don't know which one's which, but one's like a snapping turtle and one's like a wolf or something.
Now
Yeah.
I remember. I had an action figure of the wolf.
I was trying to think back to like 1990, and like it was like 3 years after the cartoon came out. It's just now becoming like Turtle Mania. I was a little baffled by how serious the movie took itself. That I was kind of shocked we didn't get like a steal or I was kind of shocked the movie was a movie or tried to be a movie. I'm shocked it wasn't more like Secret of the Ooze or the movies we watched after this.
As I'm on record as saying, that movie scared the hell out of me as a child. So I believe I liked it as much as a small child that's afraid of something can like something.
This movie cost $13 million in 1990 money. How much money do you think it made?
I'd say it probably capped out at about 25 to 30.
I was gonna say maybe 15.
I was going to say 14.
It made $202 million.
Good Lord.
This movie made almost 20 times its budget.
Well, no wonder there was a sequel.
I'm shocked there weren't 5 of them. Just on the strength of that.
Now on that, how much did the third movie make?
The second one made $78 million and the third one made $42.
What was the budget on the third?
The third one cost $21 and the second one cost almost $25.
They still got double margin on that. I know.
Yeah,
that's
you
not
got to make
great
like
by
3
Hollywood.
times. You got to make like 3 times your budget.
Remember, in Hollywood, you don't actually make money on movies according to the accountants.
So Elias Koteas as Casey Jones is probably the last thing we're going to talk about in this movie.
So I remember when I was a kid, and still recently, I thought Casey Jones was my favorite part of Ninja Turtles. Kind of a badass. He doesn't have any powers or anything. He's just a dude with a mask.
Doesn't take no for an answer, one might say.
Doesn't take no for an answer. And that one scene in the house in the woods where he just kind of tells April, nope, you're going to sit here and I'm going to rub your shoulders.
There's that time where he looks at Master Splinter like he's going to fuck him. It's a real early version of the creepiness you're going to see from Elias Koteas in future roles. It's something I don't begrudge any actor for getting work, but I always am thrown when I see somebody in a movie, especially like a ostensibly kid-friendly movie. It's like Ian McGregor when I see the trailer for Christopher Robin, and I'm like, I've seen all of you, Ian McGregor. Like, all of you. And he's like, hello, Pooh. And I'm like, that's so weird.
It didn't help that to kind of like ease the weirdness of that scene. The turtles pop in the room for a second. He's like, hey, I've got turtle wax.
Yeah, Michelangelo's like, hey, what you guys doing? Anyway, I found the turtle wax I'm going to put on my organic body. Oh, it was disturbing. But overall, I'd say this film was a positive experience. Like, but 3 out of 4 shells. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not
I
doing
refuse to use your ratings.
Very well. Yep, that's fair. We're going to abandon that immediately.
So 1 out of 4 shells. Oh, the system's over?
The system's over. No, but Steve vetoed it.
No.
Steve understandably vetoed it immediately.
I give it a 5 out of 7.
There's not 7 turtles.
But there's Splinter and Casey Jones?
They don't have shells.
Maybe?
Get your head out of your ass.
Work,
I
yeah.
give it 3
Maybe.
chain-smoking teenage ninjas out of
I
30.
give it 3 Sam Rockwells. Give it 3 bowls of
If we're
turtle soup.
going out of 4, I'd say maybe a 2. Maybe.
Well, what's the metric? So is the metric every turtle movie? Are we comparing the franchise to itself, or are we saying like in the realm of cinema?
No, probably to itself.
It's not fair
To
to compare it
itself.
to the realm of cinema.
So 4 shells would be the best Ninja Turtles film you've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yep.
0 shells would be the worst Ninja Turtles film you've ever seen. And then everything falls on that spectrum of 0 to 4 shells, which is really then a 5-star system if we're being honest with ourselves.
It gets 1 shell because
One
only
shell.
1 turtle was the star of the show.
Although I think Michelangelo had a few good quips.
Okay, but the movie wasn't about him at all.
No. But you don't want it
Actually-
to be about Michelangelo. You want him to be the flavor to the. You want him to be the spice to the soup. One might say the turtle soup.
It's like Raphael and his gang of turtles, which really threw me for a loop because he's not actually the quote unquote leader.
Yeah, but the movie's never about the leader. The X-Men movies aren't about Cyclops.
I don't know. That's kind of the problem I'm starting to see with Ninja Turtles as we've been watching them. Like, it doesn't seem like they do anything with the characters they have.
They might be a little flat one note.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah, you're not gonna make a movie about Michelangelo because you're just gonna end up with like a fucking Project X like party house movie.
Don't say that out loud because you just unlocked the secret to the Turtles cinematic universe where each one of them's gonna get a solo film. This
It's
is like
separated at birth.
that ill-fated King Arthur universe where each one of the round table was gonna get a movie and they were all gonna meet later.
That doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
They each
It was-
get a trilogy.
The Guy Ritchie that Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie was the start of that, which honestly isn't the worst movie ever made. It actually has a little bit of Guy Ritchie flair. It's kind of entertaining. Like as a big stupid Hollywood blockbuster goes, it's actually fairly entertaining with some fun sequences.
I saw the trailer and had no interest at all.
I'm coming around to Charlie Hunnam. I've never watched Sons of Anarchy, but he's all right. It's fine. Anyway, Speaking of failed
Not
franchises,
turtly enough.
a solo entry in the Turtles franchise, not tied to a TV show, not tied to any other movie, just called TMNT, which we already know who the Turtles are, or we're meant to know. Shredder seems to be a thing of the past since his helmet is on a mantle of all their trophy kills.
Yeah, I think they mentioned he was just defeated at
Yeah.
some point really early in the film. So it kind of implies this is like a follow-up or a sequel, but there was no movie immediately preceding this.
It reminded me of the Marvel Incredible Hulk film. And it's like a version of a Hulk movie happened before this. Don't ask too many questions.
Who is Ang Lee? I don't know who that is.
That's kind of what I like about it, in a sense that
As a turtle aficionado, you don't need no origin.
as long as you know that there's 4 turtles, they come out of ooze, and sometimes they fight bad guys. As long as you know that going in, it's nice to have something that doesn't have to have half the movie be origin, build up a bad guy, and then move on.
Both of you, Brian and Steve, saw this in theaters?
Mm-hmm.
How?
I assume they went to their local multiplex and went, a ticket for TMNT. Did you see it together?
Yes, we held hands and shared a bucket of popcorn.
Yeah.
I wish you did.
I bought the ticket, he bought the popcorn.
I cut a hole in the bottom of the bucket. Don't ask too many questions.
Don't be a Casey Jones.
He was very less rapey in this.
No, he seemed like a polite gentleman. But then again, Chris Evans played him.
This one was a lot of fun.
Really? Okay.
We kind of jump into the action. We have a brief intro sequence kind of showing what everybody's up to. Not too long, not too drawn out, just enough so you know, hey, here's what each of the characters are doing. Here's, where they're going, and let's just kind of jump into it. So there's a little bit of an intro, but after that, it's pretty much all action. Aside from my complaints about some of the bits of the animation, the lighting.
The animation was tough. I found it hard to watch. Like physically hard to, like my eyes were having a tough time watching it.
It reminds me of Clone Wars.
Also, structurally, I found it to be a little slow. Like, I actually felt like it was longer than the 90 film, and in reality, it's like 10 minutes shorter.
It did feel long.
It's really divorced from its own mythology. Like, it doesn't feel like as far as I know, like, that's not from the animated series, the villains or anything.
So I think that was their attempt at bringing it back, and they put the movie out. I might be wrong, but I think after that movie, we got a game based off that movie, and then I think a new animated series kicked off.
A 2007 movie tie-in game. I bet it was great.
Yeah, it was
I bet it was one of the best games ever made, and in no way a short, rushed cash grab.
But I think
Truly
after
Superman 64.
Ooh,
that was better than that. But I
that's
think
not hard. I could make a game right now better than Superman 64.
The CG was not very high quality and definitely did not. I don't know if this was a trend of cartoons in general at the time, with that sort of deliberately, I'm using this word carefully, deliberately lower quality CG. I just felt like that was really popular in like daytime cartoons around that time.
Still came in better than Food Fight, though. Because Food
Well,
Fight
that
was
movie-
clearly a money laundering
Yeah,
scheme.
that movie, supposedly the hard drives got deleted and lost. Does anyone else know what we're talking about?
No. What
Brian,
is
Food
this?
Fight. Oh, okay, Food Fight. Quick diversion, everyone. If you haven't seen Food Fight, count
Don't.
yourself lucky.
Just
Food Fight is a kind of Toy Story ripoff. It's the what you don't know what X is doing while you're not there genre. Oh, your toys are alive when you're out of the room. Well, this is grocery market food and products.
so it's
Sausage
Party.
Fest.
It's
but-
before, but it's like 10 years before Sausage Party.
Right, okay.
Supposedly, what happened is the movie was well into being animated, and the drives were destroyed or stolen. Like they
What?
lost the movie, allegedly.
The more common thought process at this point was that this was all money laundering.
That it's the equivalent of burning down your house for the insurance
Yes.
money. Well, we can't. Who could say? No one. None of us were there. None of us were in the food fight.
No, I would have
but it's this-
refused
it's
to be there.
Really ill-fated movie that basically is about it's Casablanca, and the Nazis in this are the store brand. You know, like the generic brand. To like Kroger brand stuff or Target brand stuff, which I love. They're the evil ones. The affordable, cheap alternative is the evil, and the against the good, honest people at Pepsi.
Who greenlit this?
I don't remember. The thing to note about
Like
this
all
is-
evil, it willed itself into existence.
Right.
And
The
was it
thing-
really an accident? Can you really tell me with any degree of certainty or uncertainty that you don't think that someone deliberately ran an RMRF / on this? Because it sounds like it deserved it.
The thing to note about this film is if you ever get a chance to just watch the trailer. You remember Beast Wars way back when?
You'll
The
yearn.
animation is so much worse than that.
You'll yearn for a Beast
So it's
War.
like reboot.
It makes
You'll yearn for a
reboot.
reboot.
Was fantastic.
There is a character played by Christopher Lloyd, basically playing the exact same character. Spoilers for Food Fight. The exact same character in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Christopher Lloyd turns out to be a tune in disguise. He's a human, but he's really a tune. Same shit. He's a human, but he's really a food product.
I was a hot dog the whole time.
Yeah. And Christopher Lloyd, the animation on him coming in like his black coat, like it looks like those weird outtakes you see from like other animated movies where you're like, oh no, the eyes shifted 8 feet away, except it's like in the movie.
It's like the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest whenever they would go into the CG world.
Wow.
That was awful.
I remember that show, but I don't remember them going into a CG world.
Anytime they went into, they had like some kind of VR thing that they went into to solve mysteries or something.
I don't recall, but
so, like VR, like Batman's augmented detective mode
Maybe.
in like the Arkham games.
no, it was more like just their magical mystery VR world that they just went into.
Maybe I'm misremembering, but the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, they still traveled the globe,
They
right?
still
and had
did that.
adventures, but then there was also VR
Then
adventures.
there was occasionally just like, hey, look at this computer-generated image we can make for you. Oh, I wish I hadn't looked at that.
What was the name of the girl they invented to make sure everyone wasn't gay?
What?
What?
So this is a thing.
I just remember Haji, so I'm gonna say Haji.
Haji's from there. No, there was a young girl component who I think was like a Race's niece or something. On the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, they invented a female character. I mean, they're all invented. They added as opposed to the real Johnny Quest. No, they're all. They added a female character to give Johnny kind of a will they, won't they. You know, like there's a long history of animated stuff, particularly being deathly afraid of the implication of homosexuality.
Yeah, Johnny's always hanging out with Haji.
Yeah,
Hey.
don't get me started on Race and Dr.
Yeah.
Quest. Although there is the famous scene of Aunt Harriet in the 60s Batman show.
I don't recall this.
Oh, this is great. So the doctor, Frederick Wertham, Seduction of the Innocent book, which outlined why comic books caused delinquency in the 50s, pointed out that Batman promotes homosexuality because Batman, Robin, and Alfred are just 3 men who live in a house, even though Alfred is clearly the adopted father of Bruce, and Bruce is clearly the adoptive father of Dick Grayson. They were like, that's too gay. The DC's slam dunk solution was, I had a woman. Dick Grayson has an aunt. Why he has an aunt and is now still an orphan is beyond us. Aunt Harriet's always there with Alfred being like, what are you boys doing? And she doesn't know they're Batman and Robin, by the way, is the other twist. Unlike Alfred, who is, their collaborator, she is blissfully unaware of the two boys' adventures. So she's like, where are those boys always going? Which makes it sound way worse, by the way.
I almost wonder if that's like throwing shade.
No? I'm sorry, Aunt Harriet, but Dick and I have to take an unexpected fishing trip. You boys and your fishing? That literally is what happens.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Aunt Harriet. I know we were in the middle of a conversation, but we have to go into the study for several hours. Do not come in. That's Aunt Harriet. So, Aunt Harriet, but it's a common thing that they'll do. The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest gave Johnny a love interest. I think it's Jesse. I want to say it's Jesse Bannon.
That seems lazy, but okay.
It seems lazy, and therefore it's.
Therefore,
Who
I
wants
will
to take
accept
bets?
that as
Who
canon.
wants to take bets on whether or not it's Jesse Bannon? The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, and then we'll get back to Turtles, I promise. Clearly, we have nothing to say about the 2007 film. I don't even hate it. It was just my least favorite.
It's unremarkable.
Is it anyone's favorite?
I still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still
but
enjoyed it.
you'd say it's the winner tonight?
Yeah, I'd say, in my opinion, it still is.
Yeah.
If you asked me to do the 1991 or the 2007
Right.
one for like a background, I'd probably pick the 2007. For my background movie.
Because of the sweet, sick pop beats that they drop in the movie.
If I'm not watching it, it's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Jesse Bannon. Yeah, Jesse with an I.
Oh, well, never mind.
Jesse I.E. Jesse Bannon, age 15, was characterized to be just as tough, smarter, and more thoughtful than Johnny. Man, Real Adventures of Johnny Quest has a real fan on Wikipedia, because that is the actual description somebody wrote. Although Race is her father.
Oh, well, then
He's had sex with a woman.
That plugs that hole for him and Dr. Quest.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah, no, don't worry, everyone. He had sex with a woman. Everyone relax. He had sex with a woman. Once. At least once.
At least.
Why are these things even important, though? Who cares?
People have been afraid of gay people I'm going to go with at least since Elizabethan times and probably earlier in Western culture.
I'm going to say roughly about the same time that the Puritans landed at Plymouth Rock.
So that wraps up 2007. And this most recent one was a sequel.
This was a sequel to. So now we're here. We're at the Michael Bay produced. Although he seems pretty hands off of the second one, particularly. I don't know how hands on he was on the first one too.
Other than a few car chases and explosions, and especially that plane. That whole plane sequence was very Michael Bay.
Okay,
The larger-than-life spaceship being constructed above the city. I mean, honestly, if I was to take a still from any point in that sequence without the turtles directly in the frame,
I would have assumed it was Transformers.
Exactly.
Are you sure nothing racist or sexist was happening in those frames? So you might want to.
That's fair.
So we watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, which is the sequel to the 2014 Ninja Turtles film, which is just called Ninja Turtles. They've added the Teenage Mutant back. And you can see a real redirect, because for those who haven't seen it, the 2014 one is much more in the vein of particularly the first Transformers film. And I wouldn't say it's adult, but it's definitely more of a PG-13 vibe. It's the gritty reboot that didn't work out. So this is them trying to recalculate and clearly make a more like kid-friendly movie. Particularly, you can see that with like Bebop and Rocksteady, who seemed like made for a child audience. I kind of liked it. I kind of had fun. Everyone except Brian is looking at me in a way that implies they did not. So
I didn't hate it.
It gave me Ninja Turtles. It's what I wanted.
A couple of things I liked about it. One, I had an easier time telling them apart.
They all have like a distinct, not even
Well,
personality, but like what they wear.
Personality,
and
design, everything is just a little bit more distinct.
And I never noticed it the first time I watched it, but I liked that Donatello, who supposedly
He's not as jacked as everybody else.
He's not jacked at all.
No, he's like
still
live and thin, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that last time, but the fact that he sits at a computer and works on tech most of the time, and then now, he's half the size of everybody else.
Here's what I liked about it. For better or worse, these are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the only time they felt like teenagers instead of 7-year-olds.
That's fair.
And that to me was new. I was like, oh, they're like teenagers. Like even something as simple as in this movie where they all like put their hands together and Turtle Power, one of them goes like, the truck. And the way they bicker after that, they're like, what do you mean the truck, man? Like, and they're just like, it just felt more naturalistic isn't the word, but I guess authentic in the sense that I'm like, oh, now granted, you might say it's ill-conceived to make them actual teenagers because teenagers are generally obnoxious and unlikable, but it's been in the title since the beginning, so I kind of liked that as a change of pace.
I had seen the movie before, and when I saw it in theaters, I did not care for it. I thought it was one of the worst things I've seen Ninja Turtle related.
Michael Bay ruined your childhood.
But going back and watching it again, especially after seeing the older movies, which I had fond memories of, I found this one to be way more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I could still be watching it. I don't know. That actually felt like one of those films where I was, looking at my watch going, how much of this is left?
I wonder if you had seen the 2014 one, if you would appreciate this one more. It's possible that Brian and I, having been through the Holocaust that was the 2014 one, if Holocaust were boring, which I didn't realize now is not an apt metaphor.
I thought that I had liked the 2014 one more. But now, after rewatching this, I think I was getting scenes from both movies mixed up. Which
is easy to do. I could see that happening a lot.
They're very similar.
It reminded me a lot of G.I. Joe Retaliation. So, like, there was those 2 G.I. Joe movies, and the second one is a complete course correction that doesn't feel like the first one, that really just reworks the first one and actually gets rid of a lot of side characters and brings in new side characters. Because, Whoopi Goldberg did not return for this movie, and all of a sudden Laura Linney shows up and is like that, and like Will Arnett is sidelined in this movie, whereas he was a main part of the action in the first movie. Which I like Will Arnett, but that's a miscalculation. You don't watch a Ninja Turtles movie and go, wouldn't it be great if Will Arnett was also there? Like, that's not, you don't want that.
I'm glad he was only in maybe, 3 scenes in the entire movie?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
He doesn't need to be there. Every scene with him could be cut.
Yeah, he already plays Batman. He already plays another comic book character. Although we forgive Chris Evans for playing like 17 comic book characters. Do we not forgive him? Everyone's looking at me like, oh, maybe we don't forgive him.
How dare you? How dare the Human Torch?
He ruined that guy from The Losers. Whatever his name was.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's in The Losers, one of Idris Elba. And Zoe Saldana.
I mean, it was fun, but maybe I just don't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's fair.
That's something I started thinking about while we were watching these movies.
It does make you question what the hell we were thinking at 6 years. I mean,
Mine
you always
didn't
go, well,
really
you're
like
dumb
it
as a
when I was
kid, but
young.
you're like watching this going, man, I was really dumb.
I didn't really like it, and I still don't really like it.
No.
I can't even imagine liking it as a young. I understand why some people do. I like the action. The best parts of this movie were when it was just pure turtle, and then we'd have these really annoying, boring subplots involving real
Pure
people.
turtles.
Look, I'm here to see Ninja Turtles,
Pure
Turtles
not
all
Michael
the way
Bay
down.
police scenes. Okay, like shut up. I don't give a crap about the people. Show me more action.
That's true.
If the movie actually had a little bit more action, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if it had more action, I think it would have been more meritable, and I would have liked it a little bit more.
I enjoyed that plane sequence.
That was amazing.
And the way it crashed, and it kept going. It kept going in the way you want it to. Where you're like, oh, the plane crashed, and all of a sudden they're floating on the river, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then
keeps going.
and then
Exactly.
the tank comes out of the river, and you're like, oh right, if you're gonna do it, do it. You know, like if you're gonna do it, man, go for it. Get that Rhino Man in that tank, firing at the turtles in slow motion.
The scene from the 2014 movie where they're in the Alps or whatever that was,
Upstate New York.
whatever that was, the waterfall scene I feel like mirrors that scene. It's almost
except
like
it's good.
Yeah, it just kept going.
Also, the capper on that scene of them going over the fall,
No,
and the
popping
four
back in the
flunks.
shells.
It's a kids movie. It used to be like it's one of those things like it's not for me. Like it wasn't made for me, and that is okay. I think Corey, I think you've hit on something, which is maybe we shouldn't like this at all as a concept.
Something I realized as we were watching these movies. When I was a kid, I didn't really think about it. I saw turtles, I saw weapons, I saw ninjas, and I was like, this is badass. This is everything I want.
Yeah.
Now, watching all three of these very different movies, every single one of them was
That is true.
completely very different movies.
I don't know that we'll
But-
ever have a day like this again where we're gonna see something that's all the same thing, but
So vastly
But
different.
the one theme that was in every single one of those movies is that they are not a team, and I want to see. And I'm trying to think if I've.
That's
seen,
like every team movie, though. That's the
Right,
secret of
but,
every
like,
team
I
movie.
don't-
Name me an Avengers movie where they're a team.
But I don't want that. I wanna see what happens once they are a team. Maybe the Venus character introduces they're a team and they on that terrible TV
Boy,
show.
nothing like objectifying the female character by naming her an object of art instead of an artist.
They went with the most recognizable name possible.
What, Frida Kahlo is taking? Oh my god, if they rename her as Frida, I'd be so down.
That'd be interesting.
The idea of Ninja Turtles as a kid was amazing. Now there's no substance to it. It seems like they don't know what to do with it.
There was never any substance to
Right.
it.
No, it was never. It's
There
an
was
anomaly.
enough for 10 seasons, but I don't know
Unbelievable.
where the fuck they went for 10
Unbelievable.
seasons.
Unconscionable. That was for 10 years.
I mean, if they were all as good as what we saw of the first episode of that series.
Let's never speak of it again.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I
Of
will
all
watch-
the things we watched tonight, the half of the first episode of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon
From
was
1987.
incredible.
That did
Was
have me laughing the
incredible.
hardest.
The man that suspiciously looks like Dr. Light told me that the cuts in a wall could have only been made with a samurai sword. That explained to me that a rope clearly was left by a ninja because the rope said Japan.
Yeah, not made in, just Japan.
Not made in
Not woven in. It was a piece of paper that said Japan. They had stitched into the rope.
I do wonder if we went back and watched a few episodes, which I know we're not going to do.
Let's just keep that at a wonder.
But if we went back and watched a few episodes and then compared it to the movie, because I noticed just the opening of that first episode mirrored the beginning of that movie from 1990.
Boy, I tell you what, people complain about seeing Batman's origin on film too much. You've seen the Ninja Turtles origin depicted more times than any other origin.
Now I'd say the origin from the cartoon is the worst.
Oh,
where
that
that
was
kid has
terrible.
turtles and
that
it
was-
just falls.
So the turtles and Master Splinter, who's a human, live in a sewer together.
Only in this art in the
only
cartoon
in the cartoon. And he's just hanging out with his turtles one day, and he looks over, and the turtles just so happen to be playing in purple slime. So he walks over and goes to pick them up, and because he has touched them, they turn into humans.
Yeah.
Apparently, this purple slime turns you into the last thing you've touched.
Mm-hmm.
So he touches them, they turn into humans.
Mm-hmm.
He then turns into rats, or turns into a rat, because apparently he had been touching rats
But
Before
doesn't
he touches
make
yeah,
sense.
exactly. He literally just had turtles in his hand.
He's holding turtles, and then he turns into a rat because at some point he had played with a rat.
Maybe the rat was in his pocket.
Hey, hold on a second. The turtles turn into people and he turns into a rat. Why do they turn back into turtles?
Why doesn't the rat turn into a person?
This doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to ask Tyler Perry's Baxter Stockman.
Oh, man.
He will explain it.
I think he is fantastic in Gone Girl as the
yes.
lawyer.
Yeah.
He is so good in Gone Girl. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, he clearly wanted to do it. I feel like he's got to be like a turtle fan, and you don't take that role to do. I think he doesn't need the money. You know, he's got to be doing it because he's like, well, this will be fun, and if there's a sequel, I get to come back as the Fly Man because he's the Fly Man, right?
Yeah,
Baxter Stockman comes like a Fly Man.
Yeah.
Like how the ninjas in The Foot in the 1990 movie all looked like they had fly masks on their head?
Yeah,
Like that?
yeah. Do you think it was a subtle inclination that Baxter Stockman was around? Do you think it was a hint?
I wonder.
Actually,
a deleted post-credit sequence, maybe?
Tyler Perry presents Baxter Stockman.
On that,
I would totally watch a Tyler Perry directed Baxter Stockman movie.
who is the villain in the third movie? I can't remember.
It's they go back in time. It's the plot of Last Samurai, but with turtles. It's about the Westerners selling guns to the dying feudal era, in the dying feudal era, and how mechanization is going to kill the samurai.
the only thing I remember about
so
that
we
movie.
were at the end of the Edda, the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
I like how you used real history, and I was like, Last Samurai with Tom Cruise? It's like that, but with
Everything-
Ninja Turtles.
Everything I know about that period comes from Rurouni Kenshin. So
That's all right. Everything I know about biology, I learned from the X-Files. So I think we're all on the
As
equal
long as you
footing
didn't
here.
learn your science from Ninja Turtles.
You might want to steer away from this because if we stay on the tech and science, air quotes, I'm gonna rant.
I kind of want to hear it.
I kind of want to hear it. You know what?
yeah, now
Corey.
All right,
How'd
how
you feel about the
fuck
science?
do you hack an iPad with a Bluetooth watch, which also
Science.
somehow only has a 3-foot range? How come your download isn't able to be partially completed because the iPad mysteriously gets taken
Sorry.
away?
Okay. Wait. One thing. We will forgive it for we will give it for the cardinal sins of all movies. And in every movie ever, a download doesn't work unless it's complete. I know it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But that's all movies.
Okay.
They didn't invent that trope.
what I'm more impressed with is the fact that the 3 feet away pisses you off. The partial download pisses
no,
you
no,
off.
no, no, I'm
The
not
fact that it was a magical Tony Stark
Bro.
hologram watch.
Bro.
No. That
Bro, I got
not
some.
I'll give
even
to Hollywood.
mentioned.
I'll give to Hollywood because the audience needs to see what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think
But-
Hollywood gets a blanket exception for heads-up displays.
Yeah, I'm never gonna
Heads-up
nitpick on
displays.
that. I don't expect.
Also,
realists.
for the free feed thing, that Wi-Fi router out there doesn't even make it to the bathroom. So, hey.
Okay, but hear me
You
out.
may
here.
want to do route.
So if this
Yeah, I
iPad-
definitely need a router.
If this iPad is so vital and secure that this guy has to take it away from the table because it might get hacked. Okay, which is why she.
Oh, is that what that guy did?
Yeah, that was
Is that
why
why
he
he did that?
Oh no, the security risk. Someone might try to hack your iPad. I'm going to take it away from you for now and just get it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a risk. So your Bluetooth's turned off. Your hack just failed. Now when I see this watch and okay, you got to go hack. Just get within 3 feet. There is
Yeah.
actually a way
Yeah.
to copy code from a CPU. If you can detect the EM field produced by it, you can actually replicate the clicking of the transistors. I am not making this up. This
Ready?
is an actual form of electronic warfare. Okay, you have to get the watch really close to it, and it'll listen to the CPU, and you'll somehow pull the emails out of the CPU.
But
Somebody
there-
get
but-
Paramount on the phone right now.
But no!
for anyone-
Not
there-
even this remotely feasible real-world attack is occurring.
But
Instead, a
there-
little Bluetooth icon, complete with a better animated Michelangelo face or whatever.
I
pops
regret everything.
For
They're
anyone,
they're Ninja Turtles.
for anyone curious, we are 6 minutes into the movie so far. So
It's
buckle
not-
up.
Yeah, we are at the beginning of this movie.
This is literally
And I'm
like the
thinking
second
this is
scene
gonna
of
be
the
a train
movie.
wreck. Anyway, she ends up getting the data. Cool. It's on
Can't
her
wait
watch,
to hear
right?
his problems with Crane's world.
No, the data's not on her watch. She's looking on her phone and she's going through it, and there's literally this picture of all these.
The watch is
folders.
connected to the phone. Don't you want an Apple Watch so you know how things work?
Hold on just a second, because if the phone wasn't doing the hack, then the data was still on the watch. B, the data self-destructs. And maybe I can see, but do you have a copy on the fucking watch?
We don't know that Donatello. We don't know. For all we know, the watch is connected to Donatello back in Turtle.
You're
at
gonna
Turtle
have
headquarters.
a high-class adversary's data, and you're not gonna
Quick link to the
immediately
turtle lair.
upload that and encrypt that shit.
They're working
No.
with
No.
spare parts
You're
in a
just gonna
sewer,
let-
Corey.
you're
They're
just
poor.
gonna-
This is about the working man.
Well, the working man is some really advanced, and highly
Donatello
illegal
built that
technology.
watch in a cave out of scraps.
Craps.
on this topic, though, that is something that I really enjoyed about Out of the Shadows is all the tech and gadgets they used.
What tech? There's no fucking tech. It's all imaginary.
Right.
This might as well have been him pointing a wand and using a Harry Potter curse to get the data.
Oh,
It's a
how cool would that
children's
be? So moving on from the watch.
Data extraction. Well, see, it works just as well. You have to
Wi-Fius repeatus.
Plutifficus.
It was PS inputus. Like, I don't even know.
Oh, now I need this film.
God.
So, okay.
Where's my Hackers
And
Harry
then we have a
Potter
sequence
film?
where they raid the police headquarters and
Right.
the Falcon, is that his name?
The Falcon?
He has the key to the city.
Yeah,
Will
the-
Arnett.
Will Arnett.
The Falcon.
Is this Vern the name of the cameraman?
No, but
In the-
he goes by the Falcon.
Yeah, that's like
apparently.
his nickname.
He was blowing
His name
the
is
air.
Vern.
He
His name's
puts
Vern.
air into bags and sells it.
He has to go into the police headquarters to create a diversion,
Right.
so that the team can go in and steal the purple goo.
All in-
And then
it's
the
an
little
HBO
animated,
all-in-one.
Ninja Turtle sprite pops up. Like, oh yeah, I've got a really invasive, I'm going to try to take over your network
Oh,
or
like
something.
in Batman v Superman, where Lex Luthor made the logos for the Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so but why, if this is the hacking device,
owns
why
the
did you put a
copyright
freaking
also.
sprite on the outside of it? A bright glowing screen so everybody can see, oh yeah, clearly
they're shitty-
this
No,
unauthorized
no.
device
No,
is
no,
operated
no.
by the
No,
Teenage
wait,
Mutant Ninja
wait,
no,
Turtles.
no one knows about the turtles yet.
No,
But why are they
well,
putting their face
no.
on their
No,
flash
hold
drive?
on. I'm going to defend this one. That I will take that as a character like motivation. Yeah, because they're arrogant, shitty teenagers. So I
Yep.
totally buy Donatello would do that just to make himself laugh.
Okay,
Yep.
that's
Oh,
fair.
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
could
buy
see
that.
But let me ask you this, David.
And
After
nobody
he
would
puts
know
the
what
USB
but,
stick
but
into the
allow me
monitor.
to retort.
No. I understand.
This
Moving
goes
on.
deeper.
You wanted to hear the rant. You started this.
You
He
did
puts
this.
this flash drive in and keeps
Yeah.
chatting it up using his similar sophisticated diversion. Everybody gets through security.
Yeah, well,
and
Arnett
things go
being charming
terribly
as ever.
awry. I'm missing this because as soon as I see this flash drive install, I'm like, okay, this is something they're going to use to hack. Okay.
Yeah, the
What
security cameras.
exactly do they hack?
No,
Was
Was it the
security
access
door.
control for their badges?
Yes.
Was the bad-
Oh,
It
yes,
was
yes,
uploading
yes.
her credentials.
Her credentials to be passed into One Police Plus.
Okay, so fun fact, that's not actually how authentication works.
No,
but
no. Point of
but
order.
we're not
in
gonna go
all
further on
movies,
that.
in all movies, that is how they always work. That happens in every Mission Impossible movie, every James Bond movie. That happens in every spy movie
They
ever.
can't, they can't
There
show you
is-
how it actually
I-
works.
There is a
think it
man
actually-
on a laptop in a dark room with flashlights on his glasses
Getting
every
crushed in
time
an elevator?
taking someone's photo ID and digitally uploading it somewhere else. Yes, I know that's not how it
I
even
know.
works.
I feel like
but
that has
is
happened in literally every Mission Impossible movie
it's-
at least once.
I still
Like,
think
it happens
that
everywhere.
one scene from Mission Impossible when he's hacking the laptop on top of the elevator.
Oh, in the first one,
Yeah.
Emilio
And-
Estevez.
Yeah, and he I guess he can't hack it in time or
Well,
what.
spoilers. John Voight sabotaged it.
Okay,
Jim Phelps
that's
needs them
right.
all
That's
dead.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Get
For
it
some
together,
reason,
bro.
that scene will always stick out to me.
Yeah, so in reality, there's a server offsite, and uploads are in the form of requests, and basically they'd have to wait for several
I
business
feel like
days
you're
to get that
taking it-
fucking fake ID in. But even if he hacked
You
the
are
server,
very confident in the New York Police
I've
Department's
worked
security.
in access control.
Would
For
you,
the New York Police. Wait, are you telling me that your argument is this doesn't make sense? The police department wouldn't be incompetent?
would you want to watch that
Well,
movie? Would you want to watch them wait for 7 days to get into that building?
why don't you just
I
show him
I
hack?
think he would.
I value authenticity.
So we're gonna
You know,
do.
Mr. Robot goes to the
we're gonna
effort
do
of
a
hacking
live-
the offsite server. Why can't this movie? Oh, it's an action movie. So why are you showing me the hack?
Yeah, that's not the hill you want.
We're gonna get a live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series about Donatello, and it's gonna be one whole season of waiting for the access code.
Yeah.
Hacker man,
Hacker man. I'm
social engineering man.
Mr. Turtle. Christian Slater's talking to Donatello. Maybe
That's-
he's real. Maybe he's not.
That's his origin movie.
Maybe
right
he's in
there.
prison. Maybe he isn't.
Who knows? Okay, so yeah,
I would watch, by the way, I would watch Rami Malek play a turtle.
But
Just
there's-
throwing that out there.
I think he would make an excellent Donatello.
Wasn't Johnny Knoxville was Leonardo in the
In the
2014.
in the 2014 one, yeah.
And that change was a little weird.
And I think
the
he was.
first time.
I think he was just the voice. I don't think he was the mocap.
Yeah, I
guy.
think he was just the voice.
okay, we're leaving the computers. I just want to talk about
Oh,
this
the
purple
tubes?
goo. The purple goo.
The tubes.
The purple goo is really important because the purple goo
Stockman's tube tech.
It appears to modify you, kind of like you were talking about earlier. The same purple goo.
I believe it's meant to be that good.
Okay, so this
Yes.
doesn't make sense because when the turtles have their small sample
Uh-huh.
and they're going to use it to track the ionization or whatever,
They're going to track the
isotopes.
According to Donatello, it has a unique isotope that is trackable.
Cool. So
Which-
that's cool that they have that
isotopes.
tech. I'm not going to dive into that. Going to dive into this. He literally squirts the stuff on his hand, and momentarily he has a human-like hand.
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
And we see earlier that this rhino and warthog, they get exposed to this stuff, and they transform from humans into these.
They get
animals.
injected
Yeah.
into the bloodstream at a higher dosage.
Okay.
Science
They get injected. Donatello puts like a drop.
on his skin.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing: these guys had a bigger dose. Sure, it was synthesized
In the
sure.
bloodstream.
But the
Yeah,
thing
and
that-
synthesized.
The thing that the turtle's working with is the same synthesized container.
Real science.
And his hand goes back to normal in like 2 seconds, and I'm just like, hold on, how much
Yeah.
of this shit do you need? Because it looks like
Because
you
it's
just,
a topical ointment now. But yeah, no, because Baxter Stockman, if you recall, with his tube technology, like synthesize it into something that would be a permanent mutation.
God, he didn't even have to look at a computer. He just stuck it right in.
Yeah,
he
was
took the
waiting.
sample from
He's
the
been
alien.
waiting for this moment his whole life. His day of reckoning.
He just puts it fits right into this perfect slot for this alien tech. It immediately gets to work.
To be fair, though, he already has the alien tech and other things. He's the one who has the teleporter to get to Dimension
Yeah,
X,
he's
so
been
he's
working with-
familiar with their tech.
He's been working with Krang since before the movie.
Cool. So he had the
apparently.
specs for this genetic modifying formula thing.
Yeah, the way he had the specs for the teleporter to another
He
dimension.
actually had the teleporter, though. This is the first
Yeah,
time
he
he's seen
built
this
it.
that we know of.
He's seen this vial, but maybe that's just standard issue vials in Dimension X. It's like a 12-ounce aluminum can.
Some
They're all
questions
stackable.
just
Corey, it
can't be
doesn't matter
answered.
if Pepsi or Coke make them. Corey, my butter dish fits all butters. I don't know.
How was he able to synthesize it when he hadn't even analyzed it?
There's the machine
Science,
analyzed.
Very basic science. Not even quote
machine-
unquote
the
real
machine-
science. Just
The
at
machine
least look at it on the
analyzed
screen
it
and
and
say,
synthesized it. That's what the yellow liquid was for.
have some gifs of DNA
Gifs.
spinning of this fuck yeah.
Gifts.
I don't know if scientists use gifts for
It's a
actual
movie.
science.
Yes, the
All I'm
scientific
asking is that you
accurate
show
gift
me that
system.
you're analyzing the frickin' DNA modification
He
before
did,
you
the
make.
yellow liquid.
No, yellow liquid turn purple. Purple goes spray.
No,
Whoa,
the
this is
pur-
so
no,
cool,
no, no, no,
dude.
no, no, no,
I'm a
no. Point of order. The purple liquid went into the tube, and the yellow liquid went into the other tube. And they went to mix together.
And they met.
Stayed purple.
And then they met, and that's where babies come from.
The yellow was the glow stick part. That's why the purple started glowing.
See?
That's where glow sticks are.
Brian knows how to
Was
science.
Some science going on here.
Oh, lots of science. Corey, I would argue there's lots of science going on.
No.
I will say to your point about
Some.
If you
the-
added baking soda to any of that, you could have made a volcano.
It's true. But then, unfortunately, the volcano would have turned into a man because it was the last thing it touched. I agree with you that, and this bugs me, and it's not in like every movie enough that I'd call it a trope, but it's in enough movies that it's a kind of sub-trope, which is the ease of transformation. It always bugs me that like when in a werewolf movie, like it always bugs me in like the underworld movies how easily they turn back and forth. Like I want my transformations to be like American Werewolf in London. Granted, and this is a children's film, so I don't need to be like that violent. But I'd like to get the sense that bones are changing, and I think that's the big thing. Is does it feel like your skeletal structure's changing? Like I feel like the Marvel movies do an okay job with the Hulk. It's painful, but it's not like disturbing. But it's that easy. It reminds me of like X-Men: The Last Stand, where Beast walks up to the kid to the kid who can take powers away, and the fur just disappears painlessly on Beast, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And then he walks away, and the fur comes back, and his claws grow, and you're like, "Shouldn't that hurt?"
No,
And I did think that about this.
His
where
tail
like,
just pops out with a little sound.
It was a
this
little.
movie was sound effect rich,
It was a little weird with during the whole
where
transformation.
they looked at each other's junk.
They're just like
That
they're,
happened.
They're just like giggling about it, like they're having fun transforming.
Yeah, bro.
And then on that point, it is like their clothes, their jewelry, everything scaled up with them.
So we've talked a lot about the tech. We haven't talked about how Stephen Amell managed to make rollerblades out of the wheels of a chair.
It's a little confusing.
And then
Which is weird because
found-
he's just in rollerblades after that. They don't even try and make it look like they're taped.
and then at some point finds the well-known in construction hockey pipe.
Yeah.
It's way more clunky. I would rather have him ran into the scene with rollerblades, like just strut over his neck and like a hockey stick and like, I'm ready. And the turtles are like, whatever, man. And then surprise, he's like really good with them.
Yeah.
I actually would have way preferred that. And I feel like that's the better move in the movie, right? Like Like something I do like about the '90s movie is that Casey Jones is just out there, and they're like, "Is that a cricket bat?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, it is!" Hit, you know, like I'm into this.
That was so confusing because you see he gets this office chair which has 3 to 5 wheels on the bottom depending on what kind of chair, right? And then, and then you see him pull up this duct tape. Where did he get that from? I don't know. Whatever. We're
He
moving
just
fast.
MacGyver's a set of rollerblades.
And then all of a sudden he has actual rollerblades of 4 wheels on each side.
Yeah.
There's no duct tape. There's no logic.
No, he's just wearing
How do you
rollerblades
tape
with
a
his
wheel?
jeans tucked into them. Might I add? They don't even like drape them.
Honestly, the easiest way to fix it, he's in a parking garage. Just have roller skates in the back of a car that he's standing next to.
Yeah, just
Reach in, grab a
anything.
fan.
It's
Like
anything.
And
that was
luckily
no
they
duct
fit.
tape.
Like
And
there's
what's
so
weird
many
is
fucking ways other than
in other parts of the movie they do this. Like, yes, the clothes stay on, but like at least they made it easy with Bebop and Rocksteady. They're just already dressed like that.
Yeah.
They don't become Bebop and Rocksteady creatures and go, and now we should dress weird.
Yeah.
You know, they're like already like, yeah, this is what we like to do. I like a purple mohawk, and I like purple weird 80s visors, and I like vests. I like leather vests with no shirts. We're just already on that page together. We're best friends, which I loved. I love that they were best friends.
my man.
My man. What we see is like,
They're-
he goes, speak your honest truth, man. And I'm like, oh, they're so supportive of each other.
Out of all 3 movies we watched today, they were the best villains. They never really said like, "We're gonna pay you to kill the turtles."
No, they're like, hey, you want to kill the turtles? And they're like, absolutely, we would.
Sure, fuck them.
Oh my
They're
god.
pretty good at their job. I mean, the whole plane sequence ends with them walking
They did
away
win.
with the part.
They won.
Yeah.
They
They're-
defeated the turtles.
Like that's
To be
important.
fair, they had a tank.
Yeah.
And they used it.
And they won.
They really
Yeah.
used it. They
Yeah,
used it
they
to blow
brought
up
a
the
tank.
plane.
Stupid turtle motherfuckers brought knives to a tank fight.
And that's something about all 3 of the movies. They have these weapons, and they don't use them.
I think in
right.
the
Like, they swing them around.
in
but-
Out of the Shadows, I thought they used them pretty effectively. But I think Out of the Shadows helps because there's some ninja fighting, some Foot Clan fighting, they're mostly fighting like robot pieces and big mechs, and so they get to actually use their weapons.
I think
You know.
the 2014 movie was almost nothing but Foot Clan, wasn't it?
Mhm.
It was like Foot Clan, and then
And
you
the
get
Foot Clan had like guns, didn't they?
yeah, and then you get Transformer Shredder.
Well, it's like the Wolverine problem, which is you have these movies that are essentially for like people of all ages, but your main character has vicious stabbing claws on his hands, and you're like, okay, well, how do we do this and not have it be like horrific? And the Turtles have the same problem, which is 2 of them have viciously sharp weapons that are meant to slice and stab and decapitate and disembowel.
You would have Deadpool 2 levels
Yeah.
of violence. if
And the
you
other
let
2
them
have
use the
bludgeoning weapons that are meant to like break bones and
The-
like render people blind
Crush
or unconscious.
skulls.
Yeah.
The only real workaround would be to put in some kind of code where they don't kill and give them wooden weapons.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't like love it. I give it, I guess, 4 shells because I can't think of a better turtle movie.
Yeah. That went from being one of my least favorite to probably my favorite.
I don't know what else a Ninja Turtles movie should
I
be. I don't know. I don't think I want anything out of it because I don't care.
I want to say that I want to watch Ninja Turtles 2 out of
Secret of the Ooze?
Secret of the Ooze.
Go Ninja, go
I kind of
Ninja,
want to watch
go.
it, but I think I'm also Ninja Turtled out.
Yeah, I'm
don't,
good on Ninja Turtles for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think as long as you have kids, there's going to be a market for characters that are cartoony and fun with weapons fighting like ninjas.
Well said.
There are kids being born every day.
Do you teach a marketing class I can take?
And as long as there's kids, ninjas are selling.
It's weird though because other stuff has definitely fallen by the way. So like I'm not seeing the Battletoads reboot. I'm still waiting for my Bucky O'Hare reboot.
No, the
To be fair, we are getting a new
Battletoads.
Battletoads
Yeah.
game.
I wasn't actually serious. I don't want
you
Battletoads.
sure?
Yes.
They just announced it at E3.
Yeah, there is a new
Wow,
Battletoads
they thought that
game.
was a big enough deal to take to E3, huh?
I think
I'm
the better
excited.
analogy would have been we're not getting, a new Street Shark.
Have you ever seen that Vin Diesel video of him advertising Street Sharks?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. He's real into it. As well he should be. They're fun. they have an attitude and they rollerblade.
They're jawsome.
Totally awesome.
Please tell me that was the real thing.
That
What,
was
Jawsome?
their,
Yeah,
that was
that
their
thing?
That's what
tagline.
they
Totally
said.
They're
Jawsome.
jawsome.
And instead of Cowabunga, they had
Or
jawsome.
yeah. It does feel like this movie got like the monopoly on like all the good sayings.
Yeah.
Radical, tubular, cowabunga.
Yeah, if it was 1988,
I mean, it did.
I still say radical. I mean, it's ironic.
I don't feel like you
but
mean
I
that.
feel
No,
like- I
I'll
feel
do it
like
at work. Sometimes someone will say something, I'll go radical.
It's like earlier tonight, I said Reaganomics. No.
Reaganomics.
How did I miss that?
Like all of America, you missed it.
All right, Brian, You saw a lot of Turtles when you were younger, the most of us maybe. What are your
No.
thoughts? What are
No,
your closing
I
thoughts?
wish that I could revisit these movies in my childhood self, but
Yeah.
it's not the same.
You're a different man now.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
I'm a Street Sharks man. I am
I'm more of a
I am a
Street Sharks man.
biker mice from Mars kind of guy
What the
now.
fuck is that?
You've never seen that?
You've never
Biker mice from Mars?
There's biker mice from Mars and the tattooed teenagers from the planet Mars.
What
Oh, I'm
is
sorry,
the
I'm
second
sorry, I'm
thing
sorry,
you
I'm
said?
sorry. I think it's tattooed teenagers from Beverly Hills. Look it up.
That sounds like a porn.
Yeah, yeah.
no,
what?
it was-
What?
it was-
what?
It was a mixture of like Power Rangers and weird.
And 90210.
I had a lunchbox for this fucking show, and I do not remember the show at all. But I looked it up, and it's real.
Did your parents buy it
Tattooed
for...
teenage alien fighters from
Yes.
Beverly Hills.
Yes, I had a lunchbox for that show, and I
Did
don't.
your parents get it at a garage sale?
This looks like porn.
Are you
100%, it's not porn.
They
It's
look
just-
like wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like very skimpy spandex.
I can't even
and
begin to
masks
describe this
with
photo.
masks that only have metal faces.
That
No.
looks like luchador porn.
And then look up biker
Biker mice from Mars.
God.
biker mice from Mars.
What am I gonna watch? Fuck. What is gonna be fucking what when I click on this? Ugh, they look like a spin-off of SWAT Cats, the
Yeah.
Radical
I'm-
Squadron.
Hey, you watch your mouth. I
Did
enjoyed
they-
that as a child.
I swear there was probably like a spin-off where there
So-
was like the mice together with the SWAT.
I
cops.
didn't say I enjoyed this.
we could watch. We could talk about SWAT Cats because I don't think we'll ever make an episode out of SWAT Cats. But
I don't want to talk
I
about SWAT
refuse.
cats.
I will
But
not watch SWAT.
I
Cats.
like the idea that it's like,
Never
hey
again.
kids, do you like Top Gun and do you want more?
Do you
But
like Top Gun
what if they were
and
cats?
kitties?
And Cats was with a K and it was an acronym, right?
Yes.
I can have Spider
solid.
Jet.
So
Yep.
what?
I can have Spider Jet.
I can have Spider Jet.
But what if it was a SWAT team of cats?
That is weird that they were SWAT cats, but they
Yeah.
were not a SWAT team, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was the weird part of that show for you.
That's
Why-
my
It
line.
wasn't the fact that they basically fought Mum-Ra.
Why didn't they call
Steve,
it?
Steve, every man has a line.
Why wasn't it
It's
called
drawn
Top,
here, this far, no farther.
Top Cat?
Because Top
Something.
Cat was
I don't
I've
know.
seen Top Cat. Have you seen Top Cat?
No, I don't know what that
TC?
No.
He was like Frank Sinatra with a bunch of cats
Yeah, I
who were
was
like
about
the
to
Rat
say-
Pack, except they lived in an alley and they escaped the law every week.
Yeah, so Top Cat was taken.
Top
Alright,
Cat
so
was
SWAT Cat was the next choice.
SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron. No, Biker Mice from Mars looks. There was a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah.
You both say that like you've played it.
No.
There was a remake series in 2006,
What?
And I think I saw that, and the animation looked awful.
unlike the original.
Yeah, the original was amazing.
I don't know if anybody can hear
This
the
looks like
glares.
those animated porn ads you see when you look for real porn.
Internet is for porn.
I'm not gonna lie, the guy on the right's doing something for me. He's got a metal. I'll just describe it for the audience. He's got a metal cable like arm and cable like the X-Man. He's got an eye patch, and he's got an 8-pack.
The guy in the far
ripped.
left looks like Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Steve's
From my-
assessment is
from
correct.
my angle, it looked
Wait,
like
why
he
do they
had-
have antenna?
Because they're from Mars. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
No, but the middle one's got a kind of weird 90s, 2000s. I'm gonna call it Paul Walker hair.
Oh my god.
Like Into the Blue era Paul Walker, which is I'm sure a reference everyone gets.
It won many awards.
They were treasure hunters, he and Jessica Alba. And they fought other treasure hunters. Because what I basically
It's
described
basically Uncharted.
honestly, it's the kind of movie you would expect an Uncharted movie to be.
Oh,
It's
that-
very much in the vein of like the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie, where she fights a robot.
That's right. And she's got those weird pistol belt things.
She's got like that backpack full of clips that just
Yeah,
like drop
yeah.
down.
Drops
Yeah,
down,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
slowed down.
Hollywood's long history of trying to make holding two guns at the same time practical, when in reality it's not.
Do not akimbo
What if,
shame
what, do you
me.
have, what do you have an extra arm?
You need 2 extra arms to make that work.
What if
oh,
I duck-
that's why they're Martians.
What if I duct tape two guns together?
That's silly. Why would you do that?
A super gun?
It worked
is
it
forbidden.
worked in James Cameron's Aliens, sir.
That's because it's faster just to switch which side you're firing from than it is to reload. Plus,
So why are you asking me why it wouldn't work,
I will
Corey?
remind you that that's not 2 guns. That's a fucking flamethrower and an assault rifle.
It shoots flames.
I think it's called a smart rifle.
I shoot fire bullets.
And Ripley changes how
Shoots
she
bullets
fires
made of streaming fire.
based off what she's doing.
Final thoughts. I think we've kind of covered Turtles. Is that, a lot of podcasts do this. I want to throw this out there. Does anyone want to do a what they've been experiencing recently, what they've been watching, reading, playing, and they want to recommend over perhaps, since the Ninja Turtles didn't really pan out, and maybe two of us would say, yeah, go watch that Michael Bay produced sequel,
Well, maybe-
which is a weird sentence to say out loud.
But no, I would, I guess the one thing to bring up right now that I know I'm looking forward to, I know you are, I know you, probably everybody here that has a PS4, Spider-Man comes out in about a week and a half.
Oh, I hear he does whatever a spider can.
It looks great. Even some of the trailers that have come out now have a really great tone.
And if,
like J. Jonah Jameson doing.
is it J.K. Simmons?
No.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you recommend?
Honestly, I've been kind of staying away from a lot of movies and TV lately.
You say no to drugs.
Yeah, I've been saying no to
Saying
drugs.
no to drugs, yes to pizza.
I've been living life, going outside.
The only show I've really watched
Overrated.
recently is Castle Rock. I like it, but
You're
I
like a
don't-
weird Dark Tower guy, though, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes.
okay.
Like it's
That
a good
film.
It's a good show so far, and I didn't realize going into it because I don't know a lot about Stephen King. I assumed it was just another Stephen King movie, or I'm sorry, Stephen King book.
Right.
But it's not. It's a series loosely based on characters and ideas from his mythos or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's good. We're
Stephen King cinematic universe.
kind of.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's not done yet. So far, it's been awesome. It's a little slow, but
Got renewed, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's already
Right.
greenlit for season 2.
But so far, I like it more than most shows I've seen recently. So
Alrighty.
if I had to recommend a show, I guess it'd be that.
And we're recording this, we don't know when this is going to come out, so if Spider-Man or Castle Rock turn out to be awful, we're sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
Corey.
I won't be looking forward to that Forsaken expansion coming soon. Other than that,
Destiny 2.
it's the World of Warcraft expansion.
Oh, I thought you meant
Destiny
Yeah.
2 is getting the Battle for Azeroth Legion Crusade.
To be
That
fair,
would make me
for
play
the
Destiny
Horde,
2.
Forsaken basically is the expansion.
I thought you were talking about Forsaken, like the 1994 N64 game that they just re-released
I
on
know.
Steam.
I'm so excited
Is that
about
on
that
Steam
one.
now? I did not know that was a thing.
They re-released it on Steam, and I thought maybe they were doing an expansion like they did for Age of Empires.
No, that would be neat.
But anyway,
Can we get some Hexen?
Oh my god.
Like Haxan, like Haxan.
No. Hexen.
Hexen.
Oh my god. I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Oh, legally distinct, I see. Very good. It made me think, it came to mind, I'm going to try and link it to the Turtle movies tangentially. In the 1990 Turtle movies, is it Raphael who's doing impressions?
Yeah, no, it was Mikey.
Mikey. So Mikey was doing impressions of famous celebrities quite poorly. And so he does Sylvester Stallone from Rocky, and then he tries to do James Cagney. And he tries to do the "You Dirty Rat," but he doesn't sound anything like James Cagney. And it occurred to me, so about a week ago, I watched a James Cagney film. James Cagney was known for his gangster films, working with Warner Brothers. But I watched a one that doesn't seem like it's in the conversation a lot, called The Roaring Twenties. I thought it was fantastic because it's a period piece. So I think it's made, I don't remember the exact years made out, but it takes place like 20 years prior in the Depression, and it's about him from like as a kid growing up, and you know, kind of your classic gangster tale, like rags to riches through corruption and the toll it takes on your life. But I just thought it was exceptionally well made, very compelling, and while James Cagney has a tendency to be very like someone that can be parodied, someone that can be imitated, I found him incredibly compelling. And I thought it was this fantastic little movie. You can like rent it on like Amazon or iTunes. You know, it might be on some streaming services. One of those movies that wouldn't shock me if it's on like Filmstruck or TCM or something like that. So I'm gonna recommend The Roaring Twenties, starring James Cagney, because I'm an old man. And,
Man, that was a much classier recommendation
I'm an
than
old,
anyone
old
here
man.
had.
Well, I was planning a
Video
adventure
games,
movie
Amazon,
thought, but-
video games.
Corey's like, I'd like to change mine to a Magritte painting. La Fille de Home is
retconning
excellent.
What I said 5 seconds ago. I'm
It
retconning.
truly shows man succumbing to capitalism. Check it out, La Fille de Home
I would like
by
to-
Magritte.
I would like to change mine to man getting hit by football.
Guys, I'd like to talk to you about a book I've been reading. The Good Book.
Is that in any way related to
Hop on pop, correct?
There's many great Dostoevsky works. I've read them all, obviously, but I'd like to recommend one. No.
No one here is that classy.
No. All right, so check out Spider-Man, Castle Rock. Destiny 2 expansion called Forsaken.
Everybody already knows about that.
Of course.
I'm not giving them free marketing.
Then why'd you recommend it?
I just said that's what I was going to be playing.
We don't know when this is airing again, so...
Yeah, these all things get terrible. The only sure bet is mine, The Roaring Twenties, which I unequivocally know is a good movie because it's over and it's been out for nearly 100 years. Go watch it, everybody. I've been David.
And I've been Corey.
I've been Brian.
That's your name.
I was once known as Steve.
Well, I was Steve, but the last bit of touch was a turtle.
Radical, radical.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.